All right, so we're back. We'll try everything again from the start.
Yes.
Seeing as we didn't have audio the first time, unfortunately. So today we're going to start talking about teams, everything to do with teams. We'll start with the importance of teams and why you'd want to start recruiting them. Then we're going to jump into some strategies, the fun stuff, some recruitment strategies for teams. And then we're going to talk about honoring the commitment of the teams that you do recruit.
Yes.
All right.
All the good stuff.
Perfect.
We'll
also give you some time in between, so just kind of pop a comment in there to share your experience with us and everyone else watching that you had with teams at your opening event.
We would love that. We would love for you to comment and engage in the conversation, ask us questions, or share your experiences in getting teams on board from our recruitment side. Hello, Michelle. Thank you for joining.
Michelle. All right. So, Mel.
Yes.
Let's get started.
Hey, okay.
Why would you want to have teams at your opening?
Teams are so much fun. I love teams. Whether I participated as a team, which I have, and I've also been to many events where there have been teams there before. So you have a business go over, and so, or a team from a business going over, and so it's great. It's fun energy, and it makes for a really great experience for them. Especially I find that it ends up being a pretty eclectic group of people. So sometimes it can be people like me that's really nervous and afraid of heights. So it makes for a fun joke for all those people that are well-seasoned. And there's a lot of well-seasoned rappellers, obviously, without teams. So
yeah, for sure.
So it's fun. It's a fun thing to do as a group. And so when you're marketing that to potential teams or to potential groups, saying that this is going to be a really fun thing for, your team to do.
Fantastic team building. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
And maybe it's not that multiple people go over. Maybe you're trying to get the boss to go over, toss your boss.
Getting everyone together to send them over.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, I think you guys can hear us now. Andrea, I see that you just joined in again, so that's great.
Fantastic. Let us know, just to be sure that we aren't having audio issues a second time.
We did test, though. We did.
I
saw the thing.
I promise you.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah. So,
Why else? Why else would you?
Well, another fantastic reason why you might want to, no sound still. Michelle, can you confirm that we have sound? Make sure that it's not just
she did hear us. She said hi.
Yeah. Okay, so it might be a technical issue on your end there.
No,
okay, perfect.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
Kind of scared over here. All right. So another reason why you might want to recruit teams is that they actually have a tendency to raise more than just people raising and rappelling on their own. So you get kind of like that competition, the inter-team competition, to be the top of the pack, but you also get that inner team support too, which is great. They're all getting together, doing fundraisers together. People are so much more likely to get out there and do these fundraisers and go above and beyond when they're doing it together as a team. It just makes it so much easier and a much less kind of daunting task.
It's a fun way to fundraise, is to do it together. Another great component to that is like maybe you have a really strong fundraiser, like somebody who has a lot of fundraising experience in your team, and so maybe they bear the weight of just using their network, and they raise $3,000, and then that evens out the other participants. I mean, if you're trying to reach a team fundraising goal, so it can also speak to that fundraising hesitation of I don't think I can raise $1,000 or $1,500 or whatever your fundraising minimum is. Well, if you go over even with your brother or your sister or whoever, and you have a $2,000 combined team minimum, then that can be, really workable. So I know I have a twin brother, and he does not do fundraising at all. So that would be really appealing to him.
For sure.
Mel and Dave go over. We raise $2,000, and Mel raises like $1,700.
A perfect example is the event that we're doing this year. So me working in client experience, the two ladies I'm going over with are in accounting and in human resources, and they both said, we don't do this very often. This isn't something that we feel comfortable with. And I'm able to share what I've learned with them, and
Yes.
I'm seeing them start to do really well. I'm actually watching some of the donations pour in my email. It's
Which
really
is
nice to see.
great.
Yeah, it's fantastic. All right.
Okay, cool. So it's super fun. You can share in terms of share the funds raised, work towards a common
keep
goal.
each other accountable too.
Yes, team captain. Like
Yeah.
another great, another great thing to plan for when you're trying to get a team on board is have a team captain, so that helps with accountability. But also just having other team members is going to help you to be accountable.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, so it's a great, super fantastic team building activity too. So there's tons of reasons why you would want to get teams involved.
Yeah.
On top of those people who are already going to participate on their own.
Right.
For sure.
Exactly.
Now strategies. So we want the teams. How are we going to get them, Mel? What do you think?
Gosh. Well, okay. So if you're doing this for the first time, there's a bunch of different ways in which you can get teams on board. If you're doing this for the many time, or maybe you do this kind of maybe not an over the edge event, but maybe you have other businesses and organizations that are often involved in other fundraisers, then you can also reach out to them and approach. So you could have already a prospect list that you're working with.
Yeah, absolutely.
So think about that. Think about what network you have and who would be interested in doing this, but also compile a list of potentials that have never been approached.
Yeah.
So one of the ideas is that maybe you're part of a local running group.
Yeah.
And they're obviously physically active, but maybe some of them would want to also rappel together.
Yeah.
How cool would that be? So that's just a fun way to kind of incorporate other groups and other networks as a potential team opportunity.
Absolutely. And sports teams too. Those are a fantastic one.
Yes. Intramurals.
Yeah. And it doesn't even just have to be the physical disciplines, for sure. Like if you have a book club or a knitting club.
We're a knitting club together.
If you have one of those, maybe they'll want to go over, get a little bit of a change of pace.
I see that there's more people that have joined.
Yes.
We're encouraging you to share how you have recruited teams in the past, whether it has been for an Over the Edge event before or another fundraising event, or comment. Please get engaged.
Yeah, absolutely. We do. It's so good inside.
Okay, so we talked about different groups, thinking about what groups and networks you're involved in. Try and get teams from that, leverage teams from that. What other, there's one really big thing that's connected with Over the Edge.
Toss your boss.
What? What's that?
Is fantastic. That is when everyone kind of gets together in a group play, in a workplace, to toss your boss, to send the boss over the edge. So you're all raising funds together to send that one person over the edge. Now, this doesn't just have to apply to your boss. It could be, push your prof or your pastor.
Push your pastor.
Yeah, and anyone that's in a leadership position that is willing to go over the edge, you can all come together and raise funds to watch them go over, which can be super fun. But you don't have to just have that one person go over too. You could be a corporate team, or you could be a team of teachers. I actually saw a team of teachers yesterday. There was a live stream from an event that was yesterday, and they had a team of teachers from Delaware that went up. Delaware, yeah. So it can just be any group in a job setting,
right?
For sure, or in a congregational setting.
Yeah.
You can push your leadership over, or you can send the whole group over together as a representation for the organization.
Right.
Yeah,
absolutely. The idea behind, just to go to your first point of like toss your boss, pushing your boss over the edge, it's my boss puts me over the edge.
Yeah.
On the regular, so it's my turn. I'm not saying this about I'm very but that's the concept. So it's kind of a fun play, and there's lots of fun things that you can do with that. So say the boss is really scared, maybe they set a really high fundraising minimum, $10,000. I went to an event last year where they were like 100%, I don't want to do this, but then they set a $10,000 goal and they reached it, which was bananas. So definitely the highest fundraiser for sure in terms of a team fundraising.
Well, I've seen fun ones too of push so-and-so or save so-and-so.
Yeah.
And those can raise a ton of money because you're donating to one side or the other to raise the most amount of money to choose what happens.
Yes.
Right? So
Totally.
you can raise tons. So from Diana, we're planning to market Treat Your Team and Client Strikes Back. They aren't teams, but they're like Toss Your Boss.
Cool.
Okay.
I like that. You
Very awesome.
You want to make, of course, like we have a lot of different best practices, but make it connected to your mission and make it your own. Like take these ideas. We always say, you know, we have a lot of different templates, don't recreate the wheel. But one way in which you do kind of want to make modifications and adjustments is when you're making it about your mission or incorporating more of who your organization is into these ideas. So I love that. Thank you, Diana.
Yeah, you don't have to recreate the wheel, but you can definitely bedazzle it.
I love it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, perfect. And Michelle says it's always good to reach out to businesses who like to compete with each other.
Yes.
Healthcare companies, car dealers, realtors, and schools.
We 100% thought about this when we were thinking about this Facebook Live.
Yes.
Because competitions can be so much fun.
They really can.
Now, you have a recent experience with that in Punta Gorda, Port Charlotte.
Oh, yes.
The sheriff and the police officer, don't they compete in terms of their fundraising?
They do. They did in years past a little bit more than they did this year. But what they actually did this year was kind of a top fundraising and top team thing. So there was a corporate team with Dennis the dinosaur.
Yes.
They had their mascot go over, which was really funny. And I think he was the top fundraiser. I did get a picture with him and the plaque, which was pretty funny.
I know that last year they did do a kind of police versus
is it fire?
Yes, police. Yes. I think it was police versus fire.
I think so.
But that's very common. I do see that. Or they work together collectively, but you send your leader over and then the whole crew was fundraising for this.
I think someone was doing a battle of the badges. I can't remember which page it was that I saw that on.
I think I'm working with that partner. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Yeah. No, that was a fantastic idea. It was really, really fun.
Battle of the badges. I love it.
Yeah, it's fancy.
Great. Thanks for that, Michelle. It's such a good point.
Yeah, for sure. Now, we've talked a lot about kind of recruiting the teams, but there's a way that you can, especially if you're low in your participant count, a way that you can sell those rappel spots. And I've never seen it done before myself, but I've heard about it. You can sell these rappel spots to wealthier or larger corporations in your area as a team building activity. So some businesses are looking for really neat opportunities to get morale up and get their team to be a tighter unit. And this is a fantastic way to do that. All while supporting a fantastic cause too, where they would just go out and purchase whatever team building package from elsewhere. They can kind of get two birds with one stone.
Yes, totally. I mean, you can support a great local nonprofit and do this great team building activity.
Yeah, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing that over recruiting teams because you're setting kind of what that income is going to be.
Yeah, it's $1,000 to rappel, but like we said earlier, teams tend to raise more than their minimum that's been.
They do.
Designated.
It's a great place to look if you're really having trouble recruiting and you're coming up on your event day and you're starting to think, oh gosh, how am I going to fill these spots?
Is there a master list of all these ideas? You know what? There kind of is.
Kind of.
So in the fundraising toolkit, which I like to call the Over the Edge Dictionary, you can obviously Control F the document, and then and I think it's actually on page 41.
Yes, it is. We looked at it.
It has kind of all these ideas that we're talking about. So yes. And of course this will be recorded, so you'll be able to view this again afterwards, but it is in the fundraising toolkit. Thank you, Diana.
All right. So what about offering incentives to really bring those teams in?
Oh man. Well, there's different ways in which you can do this. We already talked about the team creating their own, designated goal. Some partners like to offer a special rate for teams. So sometimes that team minimum can be negotiated with the nonprofit. Like you're going to send 10 people over the edge. Okay, your team goal is 8,500. So that could be something that you would want to potentially consider is the special rate or the special goal, considering the number of individuals that will be going over.
Before we talk a little bit more about some more incentives here, I saw that MASH has said since media is going to be there, try and get them to compete. Radio station against TV station. Yeah, that could still be fun too. Absolutely. It's similar to the Battle of the Badges in a sense.
Right.
Where you could pin one media outlet against the other. I think I've heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, if this hasn't been talked about before, but one radio show versus another radio show.
Yes, I've heard this. And also, I've heard of. Radio stations.
Yeah.
Battle of the DJs. I've heard of that too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
It really depends on your connections.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you can create your own version based on your network, based on your relationships that you have.
Definitely find people to go head to head.
Oh, for sure. There's a lot of competitive people out there.
Hi.
Oh my gosh, it's brilliant. Okay.
Yeah. Oh my, yeah, we're everywhere.
So we talked about special rates. So considering a discounted minimum, discounted registration fee, all of those things are going to help to incentivize them to get on board.
Absolutely.
What else?
It's not quite as strong of an incentive, but having special swag is always really nice, and it makes people feel really special.
Right.
So you could look into things like special shirts.
Yes.
Over the Edge offers a lot of really neat swag too. We got those rope bracelets.
Rope bracelets.
We don't have any on us right now.
They're great. They're made from authentic over the edge ropes. So
yeah.
Repelling. Yeah. So it's recycled, so it's good for the environment.
Yeah.
And also, people have repelled with that rope before, so it's pretty cool.
That's really neat. That's nice.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, just swag is always really fun,
right.
Especially when you get to wear it at the event.
So what I think is really cool is that you can use the same t-shirt, but, say you have a company going over and they have a specific, company colors, like we're blue and orange.
Yeah.
So Over the Edge goes over and our shirts are orange. That's a really nice touch. That you can kind of add as, okay, you put in a lot of effort and work here. Let's make sure that this group gets a different color. Michelle says, I always had everyone in my organization create a fundraising page so we could compete as well. Made it fun for us as an organization. Of course it did. Fun. Of course it did. That's great.
Yeah, if you're able to do that, that's a really good thing to look into for sure.
Oh my gosh, how much fun is that? Just be like, Beth, I'm ahead of you right now.
Wouldn't last for very long.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh my.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those are kind of the
definitely
to get. Those are probably the most common ones that I see. There's also incentives like you could offer, access to a VIP section.
That's nice.
Maybe there's already a sponsor section built out, but because they've raised a certain amount, they get into VIP access.
Everyone likes a VIP seat and snacks. I love snacks.
Exactly. So those are kind of different incentives that you can build out in your strategy.
Yeah.
In terms of honoring them on site, or even post-event, after you've gotten them on board, after they've done their fundraising and done an amazing job, what's a great way of recognizing them? What do you think, Beth?
You could always go the traditional trophy or plaque route, and that's always fun, especially if it's a corporate team. They can put that up in their office. And,
right.
And those are nice touches, and they do make people feel really, really special. And it might be easy to underestimate the importance of that,
right.
But that's something that people are going to remember.
Right.
So if you're putting a little bit of extra money into picking up a nice plaque or a trophy, it's worth it. It makes people feel really, really great.
Yeah, and one of the I remember with an organization that I worked with last year, they actually worked with a lot of youth and like children, and so they had basically prints of drawings that children had done, and then they framed them and put like a thank you note, and that was a giveaway that they gave to sponsors. But you could also you could treat your teams like a sponsor in a way, because they could be raising 10 to 20%, even more of your fundraising goal. So
I love that drawing idea. That's really, really
think about
special.
your clients and think about how you can make it's mission connection, right?
You can incorporate your mission into the giveaways and into the appreciation.
Yeah.
That's going to make an even bigger impact.
Totally.
It's huge.
Totally.
here. Oh yes, in response to our little competition bit, if we were competing against each other, yes, those conversations do happen in the office every day once you get started with that. Yes, that's really fun. Super, super fun. Now, what else do you think we could possibly do?
Okay, I think that so those are kind of like the trophies are a good idea. The plaques, or a framed something to give away. I think the main thing is to ensure that you're just taking the time post-event to do a proper thank you.
Absolutely.
So maybe it's not on site. I mean, if you have a VIP area, like we already said, you could add them into that. But making sure that you create a nice thank you package is going to be really special. So yeah.
And even if you don't have the funds there, something as simple as a handwritten card or a note still it feels really nice. It's a really nice touch. And if you're a relatively social media savvy group and the team is maybe a corporate team or something with a page like that, I've seen some nice public thank yous in that way too, which have been really nice to read and nice to see. Is there anything that we're missing? Anything that you guys have done to thank your teams? Or we can even hop back to recruitment strategies, or just any experience that you've had at all
with
teams. Yeah, we'd love to hear them. So we'll open the floor up to you for sure while we chit chat. Yes. Yeah, so I guess to wrap it all up though, so the reason why you want to recruit teams is because they
raise more money.
They do.
And they're fun.
It's
a great team building activity.
Team building. And it keeps the accountability within your edgers. So, I mean, you might even see reduced attrition there.
Yeah, you might see reduced attrition.
Yeah.
It might be less work on you. If you have a team captain, then you're only communicating with the team captain to get those people motivated.
Absolutely.
So that can be really useful.
Strategies, take your own spin on stuff like toss your boss. Look into corporate teams.
Yep. Or think about your own groups and networks that you're involved in. Maybe get your knitting group. A little knitting group to go over the edge.
I love that.
Or, just consider what's out there and what kind of groups are really active in the community. And then Beth, you also mentioned just selling spots. That can be an opportunity as well.
Absolutely. And in order to get them, some incentives that you can offer include a special registration rate, a discounted fundraising minimum.
Discounted fundraising minimum, special t-shirts.
Fun swag.
Special
swag. And honoring their commitment is really easy. Just look into gestures that you think are a nice thank you. You can go the traditional route. You can do something really mission-centric. And if you don't have the funds, just pour your heart into it.
Absolutely. Connect it to your mission. And make it about what you're about. So in expressing that gratitude, just make those special touches and include programs information about programs that you offer. Those are really important kind of in that thank you.
Absolutely. Well, I don't see any comments coming in. But we can give us a couple of minutes here just to see if anyone does join. But while we're waiting here, just a reminder to anyone who's watching this recording afterwards, go ahead and answer the questions that we've asked in this so that you can share with the people who are also watching with you later. And keep coming back to this. Have a look at what people are saying. I'm sure the comment section is going to keep going once we're finished.
Keep on bumping.
Everyone just keep sharing and learning. It's fun.
It's all good.
Learning is fun.
We talk about teams that are best practices recruitment webinar led by Michelle. And that's a great one too. So if you think that this is a really good idea, but you want more recruitment information, I would turn to there.
And once you recruit them, don't forget about that participant webinar, the Just for Participants webinar, because although it is geared a little bit more towards individuals, that doesn't mean that it can't apply to team members. Team members are still individuals.
Definitely. Like strategies in which teams work really well is you can do group fundraisers, right? So it's really fun to be able to fundraise together and it puts less weight on you asking family and friends, which, if you participate in a lot of fundraising events, you do on the regular. So doing kind of group fundraisers with a team makes it, makes it a great idea and a great opportunity.
Yeah, and if any of your teams are stuck on group fundraisers, have a look at those how to raise $100 this week infographics. Yep. You can share those with them. Those are a bunch of good team fundraising ideas there. There's a couple more infographics in there with good information for them too.
Who's responsible for the infographics?
Oh gosh, not me.
Beth! Thank you, Beth.
Thanks, Mel.
Also, Julie does some infographics as well. Julie's great. So I've been getting obviously a lot of positive feedback on that. So I really like to give that shout out to that.
Oh, thanks. I feel special. Alrighty. Well, thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you.
We will see you shortly.
Yes,
shortly.
Hopefully soon.
Keep an eye out. We'll be announcing the next one.
Yes.
All right.
Bye. That was great.
Oh, wait.